Parshas Nitzavim, Hey. So we are now just a couple of days before Rosh Hashanah, and just in the department of time flying, we speak about how the year goes by. Well, now officially the year has gone by. In a couple of days, Sunday night will be Rosh Hashanah. It's just interesting to note, too, that Parshas Nitzavim generally comes out with Parshas Vayelech when we are not in a leap year. And this year it happens to be that we have Parshas Nitzavim alone, and which means that you're going to have a pretty quick Kriyas HaTorah this week. And the reason being, because we do have a Shabbos this year between Yom Kippur and Sukkot. And so in order for the Parshas to work out that we're going to learn Mezuzah Bracha and Simchas Torah, we need a Parsha before that. So we had to split Nitzavim and Vayelech this year. So now we're going to speak mostly tonight about the theme of Rosh Hashanah, being that we are just a few days before the Yom Noraim. So Nesivos Shalom brings down the Beis Avram, who speaks out about the Gemara, Masechta Rosh Hashanah, Daf Beis Amud Beis. The Gemara says that Yom Echad B'Shana Chashuv Shana. One day in a year can be considered a year. And the Nesivos Shalom explains that even on the last day of the year, a person has the capability to fix things up. You know, as we get closer to Rosh Hashanah, and we say, we have Elul, we have an entire month that we want to do tshuva, but let's say a person is procrastinating, let's say a person was not able or did not do tshuva or fix things up. So we're learning from here, Yom Echad B'Shana Chashuv Shana, that one day in a year, even if the last day of the year, you decide to wake yourself up and to do tshuva, it's considered as if you completed a year. It's considered as Yom Echad B'Shana Chashuv Shana. That's the same. And he says that this thing of one day of a year can have an effect and do something for you for the entire year that passed. If we say that one day does that, then certainly this applies on the last Shabbos of the year. On the last Shabbos of the year, this Shabbos that's going to be tomorrow night, a person can definitely make up for all the Shabbosos of the entire year. How a person used the Shabbos, how we spent the Shabbos, what we did on Shabbos, did we respect the Shabbos, all these Shabbos-related things that we have an opportunity every Shabbos to grow so much, and maybe we didn't take advantage of this holy day of Shabbos, then the last Shabbos of the year can certainly have an effect and reflect on all the other Shabbosos of the entire year that passed us. But this Shabbos, aside from being the last Shabbos of the year, says in the Nesivos Shalom, it has another point to it too. Besides being the last Shabbos of the past year, this Shabbos is also, believe it or not, it is also considered the gateway for the upcoming year, the Tafshin Ayin Vav. This Shabbos, you can have an effect on all the Shabbosos behind us in Tafshin Ayin Hey, but it also is the shah, the gateway to the new year, Haba Aleinu L'Tova, next week. When we have the opportunity in a few days on Rosh Hashanah to stand before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's of course a very, very important question that we have. And the big question that we have is, how is it possible? How can a person, after what we've gone through, what we've done, how we've been this past year, how do we, all of a sudden, we become Roy to stand in front of the Melech Malchei Amlachim, to stand in front of Hashem on Rosh Hashanah? How do we do that after the way we've spent the past year? The Nesivos Shalom answers that the key to this is, the key to being able to stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is through and with this Shabbos. So now that I've piqued your curiosity, and now I've got your interest in this Shabbos, let's discuss a little bit. In general, the brachas of the entire week, and we've discussed this many times, the brachas that a person has the entire week, they all stem from Shabbos. And as we know, and we've spoken out in the Shiurim over the past few years, that let's say on Shabbos HaGadol, the light of Pesach already descends to this world on Shabbos HaGadol, on the Shabbos before Pesach. On Shabbos Shuvah, on the next Shabbos, right? And a week from this Shabbos, on Shabbos Shuvah, the light of Yom Kippurim is here too. So on the Shabbos before a Yontif, on the Shabbos before a time like Yom Kippurim also, the light of that Yontif is already here, is already descends on this world. And so too, says in Nesivos Shalom, it is that way with this Shabbos also. That the hashpos of Rosh Hashanah are with us already from this Shabbos. The Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah. This is the Shar, the gateway to Rosh Hashanah. And we already have our chance to get ready for Rosh Hashanah. This Shabbos is a very important day, a very important time in our preparation for Rosh Hashanah. So really, we could ask the same question about this Shabbos that we asked about Rosh Hashanah. If we're saying that this Shabbos is so unbelievably holy and it's the preparation for Rosh Hashanah, how do we come into this Shabbos? How could a person, after the way we've behaved, after what we've done, after what we've been through this past year, do we really have the guts to stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Are we really ready to do that on this Shabbos already? In our current state of being, are we ready for this Shabbos? And really, we are extremely deficient. We shouldn't feel like we're able to face HaKadosh Baruch Hu already starting tomorrow night. So the answer, says in Nesivos Shalom, lies in a concept that's discussed in the Torah Avos. On Shabbos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is like a king who takes us, he takes every one of us, and he lovingly brings us to his abode. And that is a bit different than Yom Tov. We've mentioned, now maybe we'll speak about it again when we come closer to Sukkot, that on Yom Tov, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes down to us and comes to wherever we are. But on Shabbos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes us from wherever we are. HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings us to him, so to speak, as in S.S.S. al kanfei nisharim, v'avi eloi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to take us and brings us to him, kaviyachol. On Shabbos, we are brought to and sheltered by Hashem. So now, says in Nesivos Shalom, we can understand a little bit how vital this Shabbos that we're about to go into, how vital this Shabbos, the Shabbos before Rosh Hashanah, is to our preparation for Rosh Hashanah. Because although, like we said, we may not be up to par, HaKadosh Baruch Hu still, wherever we are, and wherever we're holding, HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes us on Shabbos and he brings us closer to him. So you have a good question when you ask, how do we deserve, how is it possible that we come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Zok to Nesivos Shalom, yes, you're right. You might be deficient. But Shabbos is just that time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and takes us and brings us to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this Shabbos is a very, very special opportunity. The pasuk in our parsha, in Parsha Nitzavim, tells us, "V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha," and talking about the parsha of Tshuva, "V'shavta ad Hashem Elokecha." You are going to, you return to Hashem. Nesivos Shalom tells us that the words "V'shavta," when we're talking about Tshuva, are the letters, the oisiyos of Vav, Shin, Beis, Tav, which is Shabbos. This Shabbos. The Shavta, the letters that discuss Tshuva, are the same letters as the Shabbos. And the way to purify ourselves and to do Tshuva for the Yom Noraim begins this Shabbos. Tshuva and Shabbos together are our most potent and powerful tool. The love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for every single one of you, for every one of us, is multiplied exponentially on Shabbos. And this love, so to speak, it covers over our chatoim, as we say, our kol p'shoim t'chase ahava. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has us at times, can cover up our iniquities. The Medrash tells us something very interesting. The Medrash tells us on Bereshit that after Cain did his chait, and after Cain killed Hevel, so Cain told Adam HaRishon, when Adam HaRishon saw Cain, Cain said to him, he said to Adam HaRishon, don't worry, I worked it out, so to speak, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I did tshuva, which was a phenomenal thing. Cain told, Adam HaRishon came to Cain, like, what did you do, Cain? And Cain said, I worked it out with Hashem. I did tshuva. And I introduced Adam to this concept of tshuva. And when Adam HaRishon heard this, you know what Adam HaRishon did? Adam HaRishon stood up and said, Zok the Medrash, Mizmor Shiur Liyoim HaShabbos. Adam HaRishon heard that there's this unbelievable chiddush, this concept of tshuva. Adam HaRishon stood up and he said, Mizmor Shiur Liyoim HaShabbos. So the question is, asked in Nesivos Shalom, what does one have to do with the other? What does Mizmor Shiur Liyoim HaShabbos have to do with tshuva, with Adam HaRishon finding out about tshuva? And we see that although Cain was totally cut off after doing such a chait, after killing Hevel, it was unbelievable. Adam HaRishon saw that in the schus of Shabbos, that can bring anyone back. And that is why Adam HaRishon stood up and said, Mizmor Shiur Liyoim HaShabbos. Adam HaRishon saw the power of Shabbos, what Shabbos has in it, that Shabbos is the root of where we can start tshuva. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu about Shabbos, Lech v'hoidiem. Moshe Rabbeinu, it tells us, Moshe Rabbeinu, go and let Klal Yisrael know about Shabbos. Let them know. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Matana Tova Yeshli B'Beis Genozai. I have a very, very exquisite, a very nice gift in my storehouse. Lech v'hoidiem, go tell Klal Yisrael about it. See, Shalom says that's the point over here. Let Klal Yisrael know that yes, we have Shabbos, and Shabbos is important for tshuva, but you have to know, we have to be aware of it. Lech v'hoidiem, let's take advantage. Let us know that this Shabbos is so important to us. Let us know that we should use this Shabbos and use it for tshuva. We should all be zeiche to a ksiva v'chasima toiva, a good geben shiur for everybody, and should be a shnas geula v'yeshua.